Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ananya and I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about my experience studying abroad in Toronto. And although short-lived, I did learn some things about myself and what I wanted, and also to address something I said in one of my previous videos where I said something along the lines of, unfortunately, I had to move back due to COVID. Now, what I meant by that was that it was at a time where I had only just gotten to know a trans person and to explore a safe space where I can express gender fluidity. And suddenly that was taken away from me, and that was the only unfortunate aspect of it. Apart from that, I really did quite enjoy I really did quite appreciate that I got to come back home because I was severely missing home, my friends, and my family. There was a kind of loneliness while I was studying abroad. Even though I did enjoy exploring myself at new heights over in Toronto, and also that I had Malaysian friends, I still felt this kind of longing. I think the primary thing that led me to have that feeling was the difference in culture. The main thing I observed was this kind of transactional values that existed within the friendships and the relationships there, as opposed to here. Not that the relationships here are not transactional, but it's more like, in order for me to make a friend there, I had to be able to have something to give, and I was expected to give before I could ask. And not that that's a problem, right? Like, the thing is, because it's transactional, people will take first and then they give. Whereas here in Malaysia, it's I give you because you're my friend, I care for you, I would fight for you, and I would die for you. And there's no quantifiability. Whereas in Canada, at least in my experience, it was very different. It was like I would not take time out of my day to be your friend if it meant I wasn't getting anything in return. And that's how it felt like being there. That's how it felt like trying to make friends there. And it is for that reason that I could not find congruence between my identity, my personality, and the society there, because I really like the down-to-earth warmth, the earthy feeling of the culture here, where I just know there is kindness, even though we struggle to see it from time to time. There is a very clear distinction for me between Malaysia and Canada in terms of society. Malaysia and Toronto, at least in the regions that I reside in. There was a kind of longing while I was there. I think I said that earlier, because I missed my home, my family, my friends. I'm a person who's really struggles with long distance. I also said this in a previous video that with my friends and family who want to keep up with me, I'm simply not the kind of person who can text or can maintain long distance communication. I even find it difficult to call sometimes or video call, but I do try. And while I was there, I did try, especially in the second half of my time there, during which I had gotten into a relationship. Let me tell you the story. Hold on. So I spent about a year there. I spent 3 months and then 4 months back home for the summer, and then a subsequent 4 months in Toronto before coming back when COVID hit. So when I came home to Malaysia during the summer of 2019, so that's when I got into a relationship here, which I then had to exercise as a long distance relationship while I was in Toronto, which was an experience in its own. Now, suffice it to say, the relationship was a challenge and maintaining communication was a challenge, especially because I struggle with long distance communication, and I tend to take time out of my day and I stop being in the present in order for me to be on call, which is the reason I don't really get on call. Yeah, because of my inability to maintain that long distance consistent communication, and that's probably why my relationship didn't work out so well. and I would like not to place blame on either party. I would just say it's a product of the long distance itself. But at the very least, my experiences being there for 3 months, getting to know new people, realizing I'm an extreme extrovert. If I wanted to be, I can also be an introvert if I wanted to be. It's really up to the mood, also the vibe of the people around me. I discovered that if I wanted to, I could be an extreme extrovert. I made a lot of friends. I didn't go to many parties, not gonna lie. I could count on one hand, I think, how many parties I went to the entire time I was there. But coming back for the summer taught me that I really did like being in Malaysia, and I really did want to be around my friends and family, even though I knew that the quality of life was different there. I prioritized certain aspects of being engulfed in Malaysian culture, and that includes the food, that includes the humility, that includes not feeling like I have to have something to give before I can try to be somebody's friend. I think that's a really big deal for me. I also wanted to share a little bit. That's Kanna. Kanna, say hi to my channel. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the homophobia that I experienced while I was there. So, while I was in Toronto, which is funny because there is a different dimension of homophobia that I experienced there versus here. There it was very outwardly, it was very loud, especially transphobia. It was actually quite difficult, quite challenging to be open or to have to find a safe space to talk about gender fluidity or expressing my gender freely, which was why I was really grateful that I moved into the basement with my new trans friend in my last 3 to 4 months studying there. It was that experience that showed me that, it's not necessarily transphobic or queerphobic. It's just that the circle I was in while I was studying there was not the best. That's not to say that I didn't make great friends. If you're watching and you're a friend that I made in Toronto, I'm really happy that I made friends with you. I'm not saying that you're a queerphobic person. I'm just saying that in my experience that there was some queerphobia, transphobia that I experienced, and I didn't appreciate it. And coming back to Malaysia, I experienced a different kind of queerphobia, but at the very least, I am allowed to express myself here. The danger is there, the risks are there, but the community here values that safety. They will take care of you and they will help you should you need it. And I was also lucky enough that in my close circle, the people were a little bit more open-minded. I'm talking about my Malaysian circle. People were open-minded and they gave me a space to express myself. So yeah, there's a different kind of dimension. It was like my dangers of expressing myself outwardly as a trans person in Canada would have been the reaction would have been very bold, very loud, maybe even aggressive. Whereas here, it's more subtle, I would say. Not always. There are some overtly loud, terrible people here, but oftentimes it's subtle where you don't get you get stared at a lot. Now I don't know why I said the word subtle, because that's not very subtle. That's very uncomfortable, and it's just that I've grown so comfortable, not comfortable. I've grown so used to people just staring at me whenever I'm out and about in Malaysia that I have rationalized that as being not so uncomfortable, when in reality it is quite uncomfortable. I just try to reframe it in order for me to cope with that kind of attention. Like being outwardly queer and being outwardly trans does put me under a kind of spotlight that I have to get used to. But I think that's a conversation we can have on another day, because that will dive into a little bit about the sociopolitics of being trans and being queer in Malaysia. And I am very well aware that as I'm saying this, I'm putting myself at risk because outwardly, speaking outwardly about being trans in Malaysia is a risky business. But I think the primary takeaway for me, having the opportunity to study abroad, was that just because it is westernized does not make it more open-minded. Just because people seem like they're more accepting as a group doesn't mean that the people you meet are going to be more accepting of who you are. Don't mind me, and there's like one strand of hair that's like trying to enter my eye, and I'm trying to avoid that. And even though Malaysia is a Muslim-dominated country, there are still people here and communities here that respect you, will support you, will love you. And that has been my biggest appreciation coming back here, because the circle, the friends that I made here, I know would probably be friends for life or family for life, both blood and chosen. Whereas the people there, as soon as I could not consistently contribute in some way or manner, the quid pro quo dies, and so does the relationship. And to me, that's a really fragile kind of relationship, a really fragile kind of friendship. And I really did not want to entertain that and waste my time with it while I was there, while I was studying in Toronto. So I know I am saying here and there a lot, and I know that can cause a little bit of confusion in this conversation. So I hope you were able to keep up. Whenever I say there, there's a good chance I'm referring to Toronto/Canada. And whenever I say here, there's a good chance I'm referring to Malaysia, because that's where I'm staying right now. It was also legal to consume marijuana while in Canada and in Toronto. I'm not sure whether it's true for all parts of Canada, but in Toronto, in Ontario, it was legal. So I did enjoy exploring that. Whereas here it is illegal, so unfortunately I don't get to explore that here. But I, at the very least, got to meet some people there from various countries, such as India, UAE. Where else? Why did I start this like it was a list? Is it just India and UAE? Oh, Nigeria as well. My roommate, while I was there studying my first 3 months there, was from Nigeria, and the entire floor of my dorm was occupied by Nigerian people. And it was really fun to meet them and get to know them. And I didn't get the opportunity to really engulf in their culture that much, but I got to see it firsthand. And that's a privilege to me that I don't think many people would have the chance to experience. So I'm really grateful for that. I found that in collectivist culture, I feel a sense of safety and community, even though I consider myself to be a more individualistic person than a collectivistic one. Just because I think I value the I as much as I value the you. I value the self as much as I value everybody else, because without me, I would not be able to contribute. I would not be able to tell my story, and I would not be able to express myself. Now, this is open for conversation and debate, because I've had various forms and various variations of this argument that, maybe we can talk about in a separate video. But mainly, I just wanted to talk about my experience studying abroad and why I came back. So the reason I came back was because of COVID. In actuality, I came back before I could even finish my final semester and before I could graduate. So I came back to Malaysia, and there were like 2 more weeks of my program, which I did online, finished it, completed my examinations, and then my graduation was held online. There was even a Minecraft graduation that somebody had made, but I didn't participate in it. And then fast forward 1.5 years or 2 years later, they finally had a physical graduation at York University in Toronto, Canada, which I was supposed to go for, but it's so expensive to just go there, and I didn't want to just go there for the sake of my graduation. So I didn't go for my graduation. I don't regret it. I don't mind. The only thing I do regret is not being able to keep in touch with many of the friends I made that I was while I was there, because although the social dynamics were complicated, I did meet some genuinely nice people, and I did make a good amount of friends there. And I do hope that I bump into them at some point in my journey, because I do miss them a lot. Then after I had come back and the entire world was in turmoil because of COVID, I found an appreciation for not staying behind in Canada. I was grateful that I could eat home food. If I had stayed in Canada, then I would have had to stay there indefinitely until they lifted the lockdowns, and I would have had to be on my own, with my housemates and other Malaysians as well, but just without my home friends and family. So over time, I did not have any resentment or regret for coming back and staying in Malaysia and working here as opposed to working there and getting a work visa in Toronto, which was an option after you get your degree. And I do see many Malaysians, after studying overseas, they stay there, whether it's Canada, the US, or Germany, or anywhere else. But I also do notice a good amount of us going and coming back. I think I'm not alone in that kind of like, oh, I grow a deep appreciation for Malaysian culture, for the kind of heartiness and the warmth that comes with Malaysian culture. So if you're watching from a country that's not Malaysia, you should come and visit us just to get to know what it's like, how different it is. I promise you, it is very different if you're coming from a Western country. Not in terms of your small circle, but in terms of society at large. Now, fast forward 5 years from that moment, I have no regrets staying here. I got to explore myself here. I was grateful that I got that first spark because I got to meet a trans person in Canada, and I got to meet that person. All of this comes with micro amounts of privilege that I was gifted, and that I will not take for granted, because it allowed me to discover so many things about myself from that one moment. And it like snowballed into just me being able to be myself. Oh my god, like I'm looking at myself right now, and I don't think I would have gotten here this soon or at all if I hadn't had that first experience, that first breakthrough speaking to this trans person. So I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad you stayed up to this long. I've pretty much shared everything I wanted to say. I didn't talk much about my education while I was there. I did a psychology degree, by the way. It was my final year of degree, so I technically have a bachelor's degree in psychology, in arts, not science, because screw that, I am not good at science and neuroscience. Bachelor's of arts in psychology from York University, Canada, which I haven't put to good use, but I would like to, because I do enjoy providing counseling, and I do enjoy providing space for people here, especially queer people, to just find a safe space. So if you find a safe space in me, I'm really grateful. I will give you space if you need it. If you're a queer person and you need someone to talk to, hit me up at Instagram at JelloMelloP, which is the same, I believe, as the name of my YouTube channel. I might be wrong, but I think I'm correct. So I just want to say thanks for staying here. Please leave a comment, say hello, tell me if you were a person who experienced studying abroad, and did you want to come back? Did you miss home? Are you back home? And what was it like finding a job in Malaysia after having studied overseas? I went from studying psychology to working in digital marketing almost immediately, and I have been in digital marketing all the way. Only now I'm considering pursuing my master's in counseling, which I think I might do. So, thank you for staying up to this long. I am really glad that you stayed here. I've said that 3 times now, but I'm really glad that you're here. Leave a comment, say hello. Please subscribe if you haven't, and let's chat again soon. Bye.